안녕하세요. 혈치과 원장 박정철입니다.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Park Jung-chul of Hyo Dental Clinic. Let me introduce the case we're going to look at today. This is an immediate implant placement case using OneGuide. The patient had bridge from number 23 to 26. This was fractured and the patient came in. The patient required implant treatment. Soft tissue condition looks favorable and there is no lesion in the apical area or bone resorption. In order to reduce treatment time for the patient, I plan for immediate implant placement. Panoramic image is not accurate, but if you look at number 23 and 24, the distance between teeth are quite narrow, and in the case of number 26, I decided to use OneGuide to provide a safer and more accurate treatment. Those who can do freehand very well may be able to place the implant nicely, but I chose to use OneGuide considering the need to get primary stability and the position of sinus floor. OneGuide diagnosis was done to fabricate OneGuide. If you look at number 23 and 24, the bone width that the patient has is not really favorable. Even if you do GBR, it is quite difficult to make bone beyond the natural bony outline. When I use 4.0, it seems slightly off the outline. There needs to be at least 1.5 to 2 millimeter of bone on the buccal area, and considering that, I decided that 3.5 millimeter implant would be more favorable. TS3CA 3.5 by 10 millimeter implant. Because we need to get the primary stability from the apex area, I decided to use 10 millimeter implant to get fixation of at least 3 to 5 millimeters in the apex area. The 10 millimeter implant looks good. In the case of number 26, if the implant goes in, it's going to perforate the sinus floor slightly. From the buccal side to palatal side, there's a slope, and the implant looks like it's going to penetrate it slightly, but the amount is not significant. Using the bicortical fixation concept, one cast kit or drill will be used to perforate and place the implant. Immediate implant placement will be done. As you all know, we need to make sure that there's least amount of damage to soft tissue and bone. It is very important to do a traumatic extraction in the case of lower molar. If you section the root in the molar area, you can do extraction in an atraumatic way. I've checked how the guide fits. You can see that it has been adapted well. Implant placement can be done following the guide. Using the guide, implants were placed. As you can see, when we looked at the CT, I anticipated perforation in the apex area. The buccal bone was quite thin. Yes, you can open, flap, and apply guide and proceed with surgery. But when you open flap, the guide can shift and there can be difficulty in adapting it. Therefore, implants were placed, and because the bone on the buccal side was thin, external augmentation needs to be done. Therefore, flap was reflected in number 3 and 4. You can see that it's been perforated and the buccal bone is extremely thin. If you just do internal graft or leave it as is, then there can be significant buccal bone loss. In this case, you need to do graft. You need to use a xenograft to maintain volume.
그래서 임플란트는 그 정도 괜찮게 나와서
Implant
고객이
stability
다
was
ISQ
good.
레벨이 한
ISQ
70까지 다
levels were
나왔었거든요.
over
그래서
70 for all
GBR
implants.
방법으로 멤브레인을 이렇게 뚫어서 힐링업을 받아서
Transmucosal
하는
GBR was
GBR 방법으로
done
특정
using
멤브레인
membrane
오스가이드
and
멤브레인을
healing
이용을 해서
abutment.
착용을 했고요.
OsGuide
그래프트
was used.
머티리얼은
AOS
콜라겐을
collagen
사용을
was
했습니다.
used for
흡술보다는
graft
아무리
material
블록 형태가
rather
될 수
than
있기 때문에
particle
적용하는
material
방식은
because
방법은
it's
그렇게
in
사용을 했고요.
block
그다음에
form. It is easier to apply.
26번
In the
자리는
case of number
특별히
26,
벅갈 쪽에 추가적으로
there was no need to
들어가기도
do additional
어떨 것
bone
같아서
graft on the
필링하는
buccal
방식으로 AOS
side, so I
콜라겐으로
used AOS
필링하는
collagen to do
방법으로
gap filling.
그라프트를 시행을 했습니다. 이렇게 하고
Sutures were done.
봉합을 시행을 하고요. 그러고 나서
This is
임플란트
panoramic image after
시기 후에
implant
파노라마
placement.
살펴봤고요. 그다음에 2주 정도 되었을 때 치유된 모습입니다.
And
AS
this is
콜라겐을
healing after
사용했을 때
2
느끼는
weeks.
것 중에 하나가
When I
굉장히
use
많은
AOS
속도가
collagen,
빠르다라는 거거든요.
soft tissue
6번
healing
자리나
occurs
이제 3번,
very
4번 자리
fast.
이렇게
Number 6,
그라프트
number
사이즈들을
3, and 4,
보면은
if you look at the
굉장히
sites where bone
좋은 것
grafts
같아요.
were
오스가이드
performed,
자체도
healing is
굉장히
very
친화성이
good.
있는 그런 멤브레인이기 때문에
OsGuide is very
생각보다 빠르게
good for
이루어진다고
soft tissue
생각할 수
healing,
있습니다.
and therefore healing
CT
has
상에
occurred
보시면은
nicely. Let's look at
23번 자리에 이렇게
CT.
바깥쪽
In
뼈가
number
굉장히 얇은 거
23,
보실 수
the
있고요.
buccal bone was extremely
그라프트에서
thin
AS
and
콜라겐으로
graft was
충분하게
done.
복합본
AOS
그라프트였고요.
collagen was
24번 자리 보면
sufficiently
이제
used.
에이펙스에서
In number
천공이 있는 모습 확인할
24,
수
you can
있고
see that
복합본도
there's
굉장히 얇게 있는 거 보실 수
penetration
있고요.
in the
그라프트를 통해서
apex
복합을
area, and buccal bone was very thin. Graft was used
26번 자리에
to
이제 상악성
sufficiently
보시면은
augment
우리가
buccal
이제
bone. If
가이드를
you
통해서
look at
진단했던
number
것처럼
26
이렇게
and the
세 번째
sinus,
쪽으로 올라가는
as diagnosed
진단인데 자체가
using
조금
the
이렇게 상악성
guide,
안으로 좀 들어가게
there's
되어
a
있는데요.
slope
들어가는
towards the
양이 많이
palatal
작기
area,
때문에
but the implant did not go
흡수가
in
뭐
too much into the sinus.
데미지는 많이
So
들어가진
the
않을 것
damage to
같아서
the sinus was minimum. I don't
문제는
think this is
없었고
going to
회전도
be a
추가하면
problem. And at stitch out, there was no symptoms of sinusitis, and that's how surgery was completed. You can see the video clip for more details.
살짝 오지? 됐지?
네.
앞에 맞췄죠?
네.
너랑 좀 맞게. 응. 응, 됐어.
어.